So I'm really happy to welcome you here, Ida, in Channel Crossings Agency. Thank you for coming and introducing to us and to our students the school which you represent. So maybe I will start with a question, if you could introduce the school, where you work, and also the location and place where you come from.
Yes, thank you for having me. So Brockenhurst College is a school with about 3,000 students in the heart of the New Forest National Park. So we're in a very picturesque, scenic location with lots of nature around. But we are also very close to cities like Bournemouth and Southampton, which are both 15 minutes away. And we're about an hour and a half from London. So we're very well connected despite being quite a small place. And because we're in this sort of village location, we also have the space for a very big campus with lots of facilities. We have about 100 international students. So most of our students are British. Our students get that immersion into the British culture, but they still have the opportunity to meet lots of people from all around the world.
That's really nice. And maybe I just mentioned that it's a public school.
Oh, yes, yeah. So we're a state school or a government school.
Yeah, yeah. So what kind of students usually apply to Brockenhurst College? As you mentioned, it's kind of small village, but students can have the access to the bigger cities. So they need to be ready that they will not be placed, or the school isn't located in the center of London, but in the smaller college village. So just if you could briefly introduce the typical student.
I think we get a lot of different students, but what a lot of them have in common, I would say, is that they are looking for a bit more of a unique experience. Like you said, you know, some students, they want to live in the center of London or these sort of more touristy locations. But at Brockenhurst, you get more of like the best of both worlds. So you get to live in a very, very beautiful sort of traditional English style village, very sort of authentically British. But you also have access to the cities, shopping, the beach, going out to cafes and restaurants, all of that stuff as well. And because we're in the south of England, we usually get students who are looking for slightly better weather than for example, in the north of England. So I think our students are, they tend to be quite serious about the academic side, but also they want to have the full experience of experiencing lots of different aspects of British culture. They want to join in our extracurricular activities and socialize and make friends from lots of different places. So I think if they're looking for that sort of an experience that's a bit special and a bit unique, then I'd say Brockenhurst would be a good choice for them.
And also being the safe environment.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So you get to experience, traveling between these cities and Brockenhurst, but like you say, it's in a very safe area of the UK. Very easy to navigate on the train and the bus as well. And of course, you've got the support of the host families and us and you. And so it's a really good experience of starting to become more independent, but in a very safe environment.
And how many international students do you usually have every year? And how many Czech students do you welcome?
So at the moment, we usually receive about 100 international students every year. Some of them are short-term students. Most of the European ones are short-term. Some of them stay for 1 year or 2 years as well. At the moment, we have 5 Czech students, and that's usually around the number that we have. We usually have around 20 different nationalities, so we always have a very good mix. European students, we have quite a lot from different countries like Italy, Germany, Slovakia, all over the place really, but also South Americans and students from different places around Asia like China, Vietnam, Thailand. So a really good mix of lots of different people.
If you could compare a little bit the UK educational system, what is different from the other European countries? You can see the main
the main differences. I think there are sort of two main differences. The first one is that while in a lot of European countries, like the Czech Republic, you have usually lots of subjects in high school, while in the UK, you usually just choose 3 subjects that you really get to specialize in. So, yeah, it's a really great opportunity to just choose your favorite subjects and deep dive into those. But yeah, it's very different from the system that our students are used to back home. And the other thing is that our level of studies, so sixth form or A level, is like a stepping stone between school and more like a university style education. So our students will, they'll spend quite a lot of their time in class, but they will also spend a lot of time outside of class studying independently. So it's a really good opportunity to experience a bit more sort of what university would be like, but still have a lot more support from your teachers. You get a bit more freedom with your time, and you need to manage your time by yourself and have a bit more responsibility, but it's a really good experience, and our students usually really enjoy that freedom and being able to kind of be responsible for their own learning. It's really good preparation for them for their future studies at the university, where they need to manage their time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what study programs do you offer for the international students? I mean, like, what are the favorite ones? Right, so we have lots of different ones. Yes, because like I mentioned, short-term programs are most popular with our European students. So we offer programs for either a term, which is about 3 months, a semester, which is sort of 5.5, 6 months, 1 academic year, or 2 academic years. So if you do the full 2 academic years, you get the qualification that you can use for university. We have lots of different subjects. So I'd say the most popular ones are probably what you'd expect, like maths and science and humanities, like history and stuff like that. But we also have more unique subjects like animation, photography, criminology. So there's a good mix of lots of different. We have about 45 different subjects. 45, it's quite a high number. Yeah. And you mentioned that they can pick 3 subjects, 3 courses, but also they have in English, so they have like 4 in total. Yeah, so international students would have the 3 academic subjects plus the English classes. And in addition to that, they can also choose the extracurricular activities, so that we call enrichment. So things like debating or book club or things that to do with their hobbies, they can add that to their timetable as well. Yeah. So how the day look like, the school day? What time usually the school starts and what time the day finish? So we usually start at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the last class would finish at around 4:30 in the afternoon. But you might not have classes all throughout the day. So one day you might have psychology in the morning and then an English class, and then nothing for the rest of the day, where you're expected to go to the library and study on your own. The next day you might, if you're lucky, have the morning free. And then in the afternoon you might have music or maths, and then the next day, maybe you'll have a whole day of class, and then the day after that, maybe you just have 1 class. So it really depends on the timetable, because it's based on each subject. So you will go to a different class for each subject as well. So you'll go to a different building for maths, and you'll be with different classmates, and then you might go to history and be with other people again. So yeah, it's quite different. It's a bit more like a university style experience in that sense as well. Yeah. And then after the school, you mentioned they have the extracurricular activities. Yes. So which sports do you offer, or do you have any special academies where they can be part of? So we're quite big on sports. We have a sports academy which includes football, basketball, and rugby at the moment. Sometimes it might change from year to year. Like we used to have netball, but now we have like a social netball activity. So the ones in the academy are the most competitive ones. So they play matches against other teams from different schools. They play in tournaments and things like that. But for example, football, which is so popular, they have, at the moment, we have 4 different teams just for the boys, and pretty much anyone can join the 4th team, and then they'll see what the level is. So there's a team for pretty much every ability. We also have a volleyball team, which is not part of the academy, but they also do compete. They're actually quite good. And then we have badminton, and yeah, like I said, we have like a social netball thing as well.
And if there are students, they don't want to choose the, like, for example, sport activities, do they have any other choice? I mean, like maybe debating or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have lots and lots of different ones. I could list all of them, but yeah, so we have some that are more academically minded, like maths club, or like debating, like I said, creative writing, music theory, things that are really good to add to your subject for that sort of extra, like it looks very good on your application for university and stuff like that. But then we also have things that are more maybe for fun, if you want to just try something new, like dance. A lot of some students actually study dance as a subject, and they also go to the enrichment, and so they use that as to add to their course. But even if you don't study dance, you can still go to the enrichment. Things like Spanish for backpackers. We have a Chinese enrichment, sign language. We've got coding. Like lots of different things. I think we have yoga. So yeah, things like that are kind of more to your hobbies as well. There's quite a big range of things.
So there is a big options for everyone.
So we encourage all our students to join them because they're a really good way of making friends outside of class. And they usually, at the moment, most of them are in the lunch break. We have quite a long lunch break of about 50 minutes. So most of them are in the lunch breaks, or they might be on slightly different times during the school day. But in theory, you could choose as many as you can fit on your timetable. But I would say that most students choose maybe a couple of different activities.
Okay, so like 3.
2, 3,
2, 3.
Depends on what type of activities they are as well. But you could always try one, and if you find you don't like it, you could try something else. So they're quite flexible as well.
That's nice. At what age can international students join the school, and what are the requirements to enter?
So they have to be at least 16, and our students are between 16 and 19 years old. So they just have to be 16 by the time they arrive. The entry requirements are, we do it on a case-by-case basis, but generally they need fairly good grades, depends a bit on what subject they want to take. And we need to have an application form and a copy of their passport as well. So it's not complicated. For some subjects like maths, we also need to do a maths test just to see the level. For things like music, they need to send us a little audition kind of video. So there might be certain things like that as well.
Which level would you recommend? Like English level, like probably the best.
So it depends. In general, for short-term students who don't need a visa, so they don't need to take a certain English test or anything, we always interview them, partly to get to know the student, but also just to see that they can hold a conversation relatively easily in English. So that's kind of the main thing. But, if you really struggle to hold a conversation in English, then you will probably struggle keeping up in your classes and stuff as well. So, but most of our European students tend to have very good English. So when we interview them, as long as they can understand us and we can understand them, then that's pretty much what they need. For students who are here for 1 year or 2 years and need a visa, then they need to take the IELTS test, which at the moment is 5.0 or 5.5 requirement, which is around a sort of B1, B2 level.
Nice. And what about living? Where do international students live during this stay?
So all of our international students live with host families. Some of them, if they happen to have a relative that they want to live with instead, then they can do that. But most of our students live with one of our host families. So we work directly with our own host families. We have 2 people in the team who are dedicated to just the host families and the students' well-being, so they know everyone by name. So most of the host families live closer to one of the cities, usually Bournemouth. So they will be sort of in between the Brockenhurst area and the Bournemouth area. Some of them live closer to Southampton, a couple of them, and we also have a few that live sort of in other areas around Brockenhurst. But pretty much all of our students take public transport to the college, which is why transport costs to and from the college are included in our prices, because they all need to do it. But it's quite nice. It's quite a good experience actually, because it helps you be a bit more independent. And also most of the British students will be on the train and on the bus as well, and there will be just loads of students all going the same way in the morning and in the afternoon. So it's quite a nice social experience as well. So if you live closer to a train station, then we will give you a train pass. And the Brockenhurst train station is about a 7-minute walk in a straight line from the campus, so quite close and quite easy to use. If you live near a bus stop, then we have our own college buses that take different routes and pick up all the students and take them straight to campus in the morning and then the afternoon.
Okay, that sounds good. So as you mentioned, you have the team of your colleagues, which they help to place the students. And that means also that during this stay, they have also like someone there from the college. If there's any problem or they need to change the family for some reason, there's always someone to support them there.
Yes, so our whole team, we're 6 people in total, and we are all based in the same office on campus in the main building. So we always have students who come in and ask questions, maybe if they have any issues, or even if they just can't find their classroom, they can always just come to us for anything that they need. Our colleagues who deal with the host families, they also get the feedback from the students every term about how it's going with the host family and if they're generally, happy. If there are any problems, most of the time the student is happy and the host is happy, but every now and then, if there are any issues, they can always come to us and we will try to resolve the issues. And if necessary, we can also try to move them. But we usually find that by, getting the student feedback very early and working very closely with the host families, a lot of issues can usually be resolved as well. We have, our host family program, because we are a government college, we get inspected by the government a lot. We have very high standards. And the most recent inspection, we got like the top grade from the government, which is the outstanding grade. So obviously we were very happy about that, but it just shows how much work gets put into the host family program to make sure that it's high quality and high standards.
Exactly. So and once they arrive at Brockenhurst, and how do you help them during their first days to just integrate and adapt the school life? Do you have any orientation days or something like that? Yeah.
So if they arrive for the September start, which is the start of the academic year, then we have a meet and greet service at the airport for a certain day before the orientation week, where we, like me and my colleagues, will go to the airport and meet all the students who are coming in that day. In the afternoon, we'll we have a bus where we will take everyone back to campus, and then their host families will pick them up from there and take them to their homes. So they don't have to stress about finding their way on the first day when they arrive, which is quite nice. Then after the weekend, they'll have a bit of time to get to know their host family, and then we have a whole week of orientation. So the first half is just for the international students. We give them a lot of information, a lot about how, tips for living with a host family, things about British culture. We get them registered and put in, get the pictures taken for their IDs and stuff like that. And we also have an activity day where we take them to an outdoor activity center and do lots of fun things like kayaking and archery and stuff like that. It's always a really fun day, and it's a really good way to meet all the other international students and make friends, even just from the start. Then we have a bit more of information and stuff the next day, and then towards the end of the week, all the British students will also come to campus, and they'll have orientation with all of them, and that's more to do with their academic side. So they will meet some of their teachers and see some of their classrooms and get introduced to more the academic part, like the timetable. And,
and they can do, like, for example, if they want to do any changes in the timetable, they can still do it during their first days, right?
Yeah, the first few weeks. So they have to try out the classes first, usually, and then there's a window of, I think is usually around 4 weeks, where they everyone can change courses, and it does happen a lot actually. So so there's a window where they can apply to try to change their subjects if there are any issues. But we do encourage our students to think about what kind of subjects they want when they apply, and obviously we talk about it in the interview as well. So we can always help and give advice. But if there is anything that they want to change, then obviously they can do it. Ask to do that as well. Yeah.
As I remember, you were international student at the Brockenhurst College, right?
Not at Brockenhurst, but I was an international student.
So you can speak from your experience.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Norway, and I was an international student at university in the UK. I was in Winchester, which is about half an hour from Brockenhurst. It's quite a similar environment. It's a sort of very traditional English town, a little bit bigger than Brockenhurst, but it has a lot in common. So I studied my undergraduate degree there, and then I studied my master's in London, and then, I just loved it here so much that I decided to stay. So I know how they feel as well. I know it can be a bit scary. It's very exciting, but it's definitely a really, really good experience. So we definitely recommend it.
And what advice would you give to the students who want to study at the Brockenhurst College?
I would say definitely try to go all in and experience as much as you can. So obviously, do your best in your classes, try to talk to your classmates, both international and British, but also join a few extracurricular activities. That's an even better way of getting to know students, especially British students. I think when you're in class, of course, you'll be having discussions and stuff like that, but a lot of it is academic. Maybe people are a bit bored and they don't really want to socialize much. But if you're, playing football with someone, or if you're in a book club and you're talking about your favorite book or something like that, it's a lot easier to make friends. So I would definitely recommend, joining a few activities. Also, talk to your host family. The host family experience is also part of really seeing the British culture from the inside and getting that really authentic experience. And they are very happy to talk to you, and they also want to learn about your culture. So it's really important to just try to be as social as possible. I know it can be very exhausting to speak English all the time, every single day, when you're especially when it's new. Even if your English is really good, it can be quite exhausting to begin with. But you'll see your English skills go up like that really quickly. And the more you use it, the more you'll enjoy it as well. And it's just an amazing experience, but definitely make the most of it. Also make the most of our location. We have lots of beautiful surroundings, lots of nature, but also, go to Bournemouth, Southampton, London. A lot of our students like to take day trips to places like Oxford and Bath as well. They're all quite close. So just make the most of it is my advice, really.
The public transport works pretty well there. That's important also for the students to be kind of independent during the weekends. They can do basically whatever they want with the host families or with the friends. So.
Exactly. And even a small place like Brockenhurst, we are on the main train line between Bournemouth and London. So in each direction, there'll be trains at least 3 times an hour. So it's very easy you don't have to wait for ages for the next train. It's quite easy to get there and back and stuff like that. So
So thank you very much. I'm happy that we work together, and we are happy to sending you some brilliant Czech students.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.